Oh, hello. There we go. Rookie mistake. There we go. Which one do I get rid of? That one, right?
You get rid of that one.
There we
Hey,
are.
that's us. Let's get rid of that one.
Oh,
Hello.
happy Sussex
Yay,
Day.
it's Sussex Day, 16th of June.
Yeah. Do you know what? I know how they decided on the 16th of June.
How?
Well, it's to do with some Richard. He was, I think he died in Dover. He's not the only person to have died in Dover.
No. Okay.
We've never played a gig there, but for sure we did. We might die in Dover. And he was buried. They buried his bits there, his heart and that.
Okay.
And then, but they brought his body back and interred it in Chichester. And they interred it on the 16th of
Well,
June. So bits of St Richard are in Dover, but the rest of him are in Chichester. So there we are.
okay.
And that's why
That's Sussex Days.
Sussex Day was chosen. But it's not very old. I mean, it's not like really ancient. There we are. Sam will probably tell us otherwise because he's an expert on all this sort of stuff.
So, yes, today on Midweek Wealden, our guest is going to be Sam Spiers of Town and Country Tree Services. So if you've got any questions relating to anything tree or other sort of naturey things, then put them in the comments and we'll see if Sam can answer those.
Anything arboreal. Is it arboreal? I think it's arboreal.
That sounds tree-like.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I'm Josie. This is Jim. We're from Aylsham Creative, which you can almost see in our screen there. We're Aylsham Creative. Hailsham Creative. And we set up Support Wealden as an initiative to help businesses during the lockdown last year, and it's continuing. We've actually got a live event coming up face-to-face. We're going to be meeting people hopefully on the 28th of July. It's an outdoor event, so it will go ahead, whatever. We're limiting numbers at the moment. If we can have more at the time, fine. So head over to supportwealden.co.uk and you'll find more about coming along to that and meeting some of the local businesses.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the banner up.
You
so
can touch
see what's
elbows
what.
with every local business that's going to be there. Or other
So
parts
there
of
you
your
go.
body that are, a little bit further away than your hand.
Yes, that are unlikely to be carrying germs.
Perhaps you better move on. Fast.
So we are now going to introduce our guest, Sam Spiers. So I'm going to bring him into the stream. There we go. There's Sam.
Hello.
Hi, Sam.
Oh, yes, Sam.
Are we all right?
Yeah, all right. I love that garden behind you. That looks so nice.
Yeah.
Is that actually real or is that a green screen? I think it's a
can
green
assure,
screen.
No, I can assure, yeah, it's not one of the backgrounds you can add on. This is my own garden, and I'm proud of these things. So
Oh,
I'll
Yeah.
send a picture while we're on air.
Your
Excellent.
wildflower border.
It
Brilliant.
is. Got a lot of
so
effort
that
into
was from a wildflower seed pack, was it?
Yeah, so this was actually just this sort of area here is where it sort of joins the turf, the garden. I sort of created a border, and last year in our old house, I had this sort of just patch of earth. I didn't do much with it. It was a very small garden, and we just wanted some flowers there. So I just got a couple of packets just from the garden centre, a couple of packets of wildflower seeds. I think I got my little boy to do it. Just threw them across it, a little bit of compost on top, watered it, and we didn't think anything else of that until the spring, and literally near enough every seed I think germinated.
Oh, brilliant.
And it came up, and it was honestly, it was amazing. It was like something off of Countryfile. It looked beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I've basically done the same thing here on an area of garden I've got here. But I think it's good for the souls to come out and have some wildflowers there and seeing the bees and the pollinators on them, which is important. So if we can all do a bit of that, then it's good.
And you sorry, go on.
I was going to say, we're cultivating lots of nettles and brambles, which butterflies like.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're really good.
I had that conversation today with a customer. She said to me, "Oh, I need this big. It's behind a stable block," and she said, "Oh, I need it all strimming down. It all looks a mess." And I said, "No." I said, "Actually, to be fair, if you've got your formal garden, it's not really a mess. If you can deal with it, you can cut that. Of course, if you need a few bits back from where you're walking, fine. But I said, leave it. It's vital habitat. They're only weeds to us. They're not weeds to everything. So, if you can try and keep these patches, even though small patches, for butterflies, for moths, all the things that lay the eggs on that, then again, it's habitat loss that we're seeing so much of. We can all help out in gardens and do a little bit ourselves.
Talking of, I'm not sure if you mentioned bees then, but if you did, bees are obviously extremely important and under pressure, aren't they? And we've got a lovely video coming up a bit later, haven't we, by Sussex band Chalk Horse Music called Telling of the Bees, which is, I won't tell you much about it now. We'll introduce it later. So that's going to be showed at the end of the show.
So tell us about Town and Country Tree Services, and how long have you been going?
So I started this business about 11 years ago. I think it's 2010 it was.
Wow.
And I'd start when I left college, when I was 16 when I left college, or actually maybe 18 after I'd finished all the courses. I went and worked for a company. I thought, I need the experience. I need to get out and do this, firsthand with guys around me as well that probably know what they're doing properly. And I always think as a tree surgeon, you really, once you pass your course, you're not a tree surgeon. You've got to really push the sort of academia of it and also the practical skills to try and get that across as well. I'm still learning now, but I went and worked for a big company, did that for about 7 years, learned vital skills from that, and then got to the point where I thought, I can do this for myself now. I always wanted to be my own boss, have the bonuses of having that, and having some time with my family when I can, having that sort of work-life balance worked really well for me. But yeah, it's sort of just been so good. It's worked so well. We've always been busy. We're really busy now. But I'm very much a sort of, you only get out of things what you put into them, and I've put a lot into the business. I've talked to so many clients. We get so much sort of referral work and recommendation work, and that speaks volumes for me. So I think we're doing something right. Yeah, and it's an area where there are shall we say some less professional people who get involved, aren't there? Because anybody can buy a chainsaw, can't they? Well, that's
call
the
themselves
issue.
a tree surgeon.
Yeah, I like to call myself an arborist. I think that describes me better than a tree surgeon.
Yep.
I don't just cut trees. That's that's probably only half of what I do nowadays. But for me, it's anybody can really go out and buy a chainsaw, buy a transit van, and go off and call themselves a tree surgeon. They can call themselves that, but they're not. It's a very, very different ball game when it comes to being an arboriculturalist, really. It's the same as a gardener wouldn't call themselves a professional horticulturist. You wouldn't really do that. But nowadays, for me, it's more about sort of preserving the trees we have, especially sort of veteran trees, ancient trees, and that's, I get more joy out of doing that and encouraging that really than I do cutting down trees. Of course, that's part of what we do every day. But and sort of in turn with that, I've got this thing I'm trying to do called Arborculturalists, which is basically an industry sort of accreditation, I suppose, where I'm trying to get companies on board to replant the trees they fell during the year. So if they can just add up, roughly how many trees they think they fell each year, and just go and buy. I'm not asking for big trees to be bought by them, but just to supply whips, native hedging whips, for example. Speak to councils, speak to highways, woodland owners, and and free of charge, just replant, just put these little trees in. And I feel in some ways that's giving, it's not quite neutral because you're not like for like, but it feels good, it feels like you're putting something back there again. So I'm trying to encourage more of that sort of thing nowadays,
Excellent. So with regards to tree planting, a lot of people are aware now that trees are going to save the planet. What are the best, if somebody wants to plant a tree in their garden as their bit, what's the best tree to plant and what's the best time of year to plant it?
It all depends really on gardens. It's quite difficult because it all depends on the sizes, and trees obviously with neighbours can create problems as well as sort of solve them. So I suppose really you want to try and, in the ideal world, if you had the space, you want to plant fast growing trees, things that are going to put leaf mass out, going to be removing carbon dioxide quickly. Things like willows, poplars,
Yeah.
You know, but also going down to hedges. You know, if you can plant native hedging, that's brilliant. You know, on your borders, get rid of the fences and plant hedges. You know, things like that. Yeah, it's all about removing carbon from the atmosphere. You know, so that's the important thing. You know, it's not always about how big a tree you need to plant. But you know what? In the grand scheme of things, just if you can get a tree in your garden, anything is better than nothing. You know, I've got a fairly small garden here, but I've put a Rowan in. I've put 2 apple trees in. You know, you can espalier apple trees against your fence. There's lots of ways you can incorporate trees into your garden without needing huge oak trees or anything that's going to overtake and cause issues. But it's all, you know, just get something there, even if it's a big shrub. It's better than nothing.
Talking of oaks, actually, I've noticed so many little oak trees being planted over the last couple of years, and not quite sure that more than I've noticed before. I'm not quite sure why that is. Jays are big planters, I gather, of oak trees, but because they don't nip the ends, do they? Like squirrels do. So they'll do a little stash, I think, and
that's
and
right.
and then they forget where they've put them.
That's
basically,
that's the important bit. Yeah, if they knew where they was, they wouldn't have. You know, we wouldn't get them. But
nature's way.
Nature's been doing it for millennia, hasn't it? Really, and you know, planting these seeds. But yeah, I mean, what I do, one of the things I do with my son is every autumn or end of the summer, we'll go out and just pick up, you know, 20, 30 acorns from a nice tree, one you can find a decent tree, and just put them all in little pots. Just get some little pots or whatever, you know, or little, you can recycle and just use little ends of bottles or whatever, and put them in there. And at Christmas, get the kids to give them out as little presents, little oak trees.
That's a fantastic idea.
Really nice.
Yeah.
You know what? To me, that would mean more to me. Someone's grown a little tree from an acorn than any present you can buy.
Yeah,
so
that's such a brilliant idea.
We've got a tree for each of our children now. He's 4 years old, our eldest, and then we've got 6 months. And when she gets her first birthday,
oh, sorry! Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much, guys. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you can see why I'm outside. I'm leaving wife in front of the baby. But no, you know, it's again, make it fun and get kids involved as well. You know, they are the future. You know, if we don't get them involved, isn't it? We'll miss out a lot. So, but yeah, lots of little ways you could. And it's never. You know, I think the world knows about this now. We know how important trees are. You know, for the world. You know, for us as a human race, we know they're vital. So, and I think people are getting onto that. They do know that. You know, I've never seen so many Facebook groups on tree planting as there is right now. So, you know, it's a good thing, and you know, just need to keep the momentum up, really.
I've seen on Facebook there's a rogue planter who literally just goes around, and if he finds a green space, he puts a tree there. Yeah, and it's quite cool.
You know, stuff like that's brilliant. It works, but until you put them on council land and they whip them straight back out again. But you know, whoever that is doing that, you know, it's. They've got a good heart, haven't they? You know, that's a good thing.
It's coming from the right place, I guess.
We've got a couple of questions for you. Do you want to do those before the video?
Yeah, let's do that because there's one from Neil, which is, you know, Neil Povey, who we all friend of ours.
Hello, Neil.
And as usual, it's not in. You know, he's used about 20 words when 3 will probably suffice. Hi, Sam. As you know, I have a garden surrounded by trees, which I love. But we get rogue Rowan. They seem to get into cracks at the bottom of the walls and are very stubborn. Any tips for removal? You can cut them back to ground level, but they burst back and are very fast growing. But I just wanted to add, he did put something after that, because you mentioned a Rowan, didn't you, in your garden? And he's put, Rowans are, of course, beautiful in the right place.
Absolutely.
So any tips for keeping on top of Rowan?
I mean, this will happen with most trees. Rowans are a bit like, now I don't know the circumstance, but if it was where there was a Rowan before and it's suckered, I don't know, or whether it's just seed dispersal and the birds have obviously eaten the berries and done their bit and it's gone into the wall. But I suppose I'll get to the question to get rid of them. It's not easy, you know. I suppose the right thing to do would be just to keep cutting it back, maybe try and get some teram or some membrane over the top of where you've cut, just to try and keep the light off it, because that will stop it from growing back. You know, the not very nice way nowadays would be obviously to poison it with some glyphosate. that's obviously not something I particularly want to recommend, but that will do the job. That would kill it. If it's a small area away from everything else, you know what, might be worth doing that if it bothers you that much. But if not, you've got to try and get. You think you've got to get the moisture away from it. You've got to try and get the light off of it, because unfortunately, they're vigorous trees. They will just continue to shoot back. There's not a lot more I can say about that, really, Neil. I'm afraid I don't know the circumstance. I can always pop around and have a look. But yeah, you've got to really. I mean, I don't know how big it is. You could ring bark it. You can take a little section of bark off around as close to the walls as you can, and that will kill the plant off. But one of those will help if you can do that.
Okay.
But he's right. They are beautiful trees as well, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got one in my garden. I think they're excellent trees. They're very hardy. You see them planted a lot in parklands. They're perfect for people's gardens. If you forget to water them for 3 months, they'll put up with a lot. And they're good, good for nature again. But the berries are vital in the winter for nutrients to the birds. So they're good trees. It's just they're just not good in walls.
Yeah, you don't want them
better
growing
off trying
out
to
of
keep them away from walls if you can.
growing up through your foundations.
I remember someone saying, actually, when they at a networking group that I used to go to, that someone removed a large tree from fairly close to their house, and of course, what happened was all the hundreds and hundreds of litres of moisture that this thing was taking out of the ground every day. Was being retained by the ground, and it meant that the building started to move. So, you need to be really careful as well, don't you, when you remove or take a tree down?
Yes, we've had this a lot actually. We do some work for insurance companies, and a lot of that time that does involve large trees, mainly oaks, sometimes sort of willows, that kind of thing. Succulent trees that remove a lot of moisture, and they obviously get the subsidence on heavy clay soil like we are in the Weald. Unfortunately, that happens quite a lot.
Buildings move all over the place because of clay, don't they?
Unfortunately, the worst ones are sort of modern buildings where the foundations just don't suit really. But you get the heave. Then you see when you remove the tree, it's never a good idea just to get rid of the tree, because all the moisture that tree then would have been removing, come the winter, come the spring, the following year, will just the clay will just explode again. So and then you get the movement of it not dropping but being lifted up. So it is an issue. It's a double-edged sword really with subsidence issues in the Weald. You have to do it in gradual stages. You have to remove the tree, reduce it, remove it slowly. But reducing just a quick point actually on that one. If you have got trees close to homes, now I'm not saying this is actually going to happen because a lot of time it doesn't. But if you're worried and you might be worth speaking to insurance about this, reducing the tree and keeping on top of it as a maintenance thing can work. You don't always have to remove the tree. You can maintain it just by reducing the crown and the foliage mass, and that will
energy
in turn put energy into producing more vegetation rather than roots.
That makes sense.
And you can do that to look nice as well, can't you? They don't always look as if they just had their heads chopped off.
No, if you had encroachment from the tree over your neighbours or whatever, you could kill two birds with one stone with that really, and you could actually keep the tree, keep it looking nice in size for the size of your garden, and also help the subsidence issues at the same time.
Yeah,
we got a question from Bev, Too Good as well, and
Hi, Bev.
I know we've got two of Bev's favourite things on the telly today. One Sam Spiers, she said, and the other is Chalk Horse Music. So that's pretty cool. So Bev asked if you've got any tips for moving an established fruit tree on an allotment.
Okay. I don't know how established it is, Bev.
All right, let's say it's like 30 years old.
Okay, right.
30-year-old apple. Okay,
so you're right. Firstly, it's not always recommended because by that time the roots have, the feeder roots have gone quite far out, and you've got, they're way beyond where you think they'd be.
Sorry to interrupt. Bev has just put it's 5 years.
5
years. Oh, okay.
That's a baby.
Okay.
So I assume Bev put it in 5 years ago, right? That's what I'm guessing. I don't know if she can pick up on that. But anyway, so what I would do is I would first of all just dig a bit away around where you'd think the root ball might be. It's normally sort of what we'd say would be the drip line of the canopy. So where the tree comes out, the end of the leaves, it's normally sort of the roots. The feeder roots would be there because that's where the rain drops from. If you can dig and maybe try and work out where the roots are from that, and just make a bigger root ball, really. A lot of the trees you see that are transplanted at age have been prepped. They've been dug around, topsoil put in. They've been prepped for years before movement. If you're moving something fairly established, then it's probably a 50-50 chance of survival, I'm afraid, on that one, because you're not going to be able to remove a ton root ball, and unless it's a small tree. Again, I'd probably have to see it really to give proper advice on it. But you just want to try and get as far out as you can manage on it. If you can get something and put it onto a piece of plyboard or a tarpaulin and drag it across, that's probably your best bet. But
is it an apple, Bev? If you just let us know if it's an apple, because the only reason I ask is I moved an apple here. This is turning into gardener's question time, isn't it?
I like it. Good.
We could do this every week.
You'd be happy to.
It's a pear, a small pear tree. Oh, lovely. Very nice. But I moved an apple from one side of our garden to the other, and I probably left it too late in the year. That's probably another consideration, isn't it, Sam? In fact, because I moved it probably at last March. It was quite warm, and I moved it March, April, and I got very, very small leaf last year as a consequence.
Yeah,
but this year it's come on, and I've got fruit on it. It looks
So
you
want to try and what you want to try and prevent is it drying out, basically. So if you're moving it in the warmer months, you are going to have to water that.
Yeah,
a lot.
We kept a hose on ours every day.
Exactly. But then you've got the opposite. You can't overwater it either. So it's a really you want to try and move it in the autumn, really. That would be so it's had its years worth of energy from photosynthesis. You want to then prep it and move it, really, then, and also keep a bed of mulch over the top of it as well. Try and keep it especially when it comes into spring. Then keep it mulched, keep it watered again, and put lots of organic matter into the hole when you're planting it as well. That will help. So, but in the March probably isn't the best time.
Cool. Hey, we better move on quick. But Neil Povey's trying to poach you for Hailsham FM now. Can't believe it. It's unbelievable. Man's got no morals at all.
Talking of Hailsham FM, we're about to show a video by Chalk Horse Music, and Liz Pearson from Chalk Horse Music runs a folk show on Hailsham FM. I thought I'd just better plug that. That's on the second Wednesday of every month. So it'll be, it was last week, so it will be 14th of July, I believe, will be our next one. So we're going to show the video now.
I've got one more very quick question for Sam, because it's still topical. Ash dieback. How do people recognise ash dieback, and should they do anything with regards to, or any other disease reporting to local authorities and so on?
Okay, just a quick one. It would just be looking at your trees, noticing anything out of the ordinary, really. Especially with ash trees at the moment, you'll notice it. They'll look thinner. The leaves will look thinner. There'll be dieback from the tips. It's a progressive dieback, so it'll die from the tips coming back. It's all across the country now, unfortunately. I would put a bet on, if you had an ash tree in your garden, it's probably got ash dieback or signs of it. It's horrendous. We're probably going to lose about 90% of the ash trees in the UK. Anything that's healthy, keep it, because it might have some kind of
some resistance.
Resistance strain, and it happens in nature. So we want to try and encourage that. But unfortunately, the way the world is, climate change, things are getting worse. More pests and diseases are overwintering, so you're only going to get more of this, I'm afraid.
There are some reportable, aren't there? There's sorry, you were just about to say. I know there's the moth thing, isn't there?
Oak processionary moth is a big one. You get that a lot around London and that sort of way at the moment. And the home county, but you're not getting it so much in Sussex at the moment. If you start getting that here, then we have an issue, because we've got Wealden is obviously a lot of oak trees here, a lot of very ancient oak trees. So we want to try and keep that away, but they're doing their best in London at the moment to keep on top of that, and they spray the trees. They find other ways of dealing with it. But oak processionary moth And also brown tail moth this time of year to be careful of, because they're on hedges, they're on a lot of trees, and they're very, very irritant. So you get any of those hairs on you, it will put you in hospital. They're that bad.
Right.
So just be wary. They call them tents, little sort of silk, sort of little tents. They do look like that, and they're full of caterpillars, and they'll defoliate trees, small trees and hedges within a few days. They're very vigorous little creatures. So keep an eye on them. But yeah, anything in your garden you think's out of the ordinary that isn't right, then you might have an issue there. But no, by all means, give me a message if you ever get anything. That's fine. I can always chat to you about that.
Sam, we better move on. We could talk to you all day.
Guys. I know. We didn't even bring up mushrooms and foraging, did we?
I know. Well, there we are.
We'll do it another time.
Yeah, or you can chat to
in the autumn. I'll quite happily do it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you can chat to Judas Povey on Hailsham FM.
Do that. Yeah, there he is. Yeah. All right, guys.
Right. I think we'll say goodbye to Sam and we'll move on to the video. So thank you very much, Sam. It's been lovely to talk to you. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
See ya, mate. Bye, mate.
Bye.
There he goes.
Should we just put Sam's contact details out quickly?
Yeah, I can do that. Here we go. I can do that by doing
that,
right? There he is.
There you go.
Town and Country. Sam's a really nice guy. We've had him in our garden doing some work, and I know that loads of our friends have as well, and colleagues.
Yeah.
So, yeah, have a chat to Sam if you've got anything tree-related. Should we show our video now?
Yeah.
How do I do that? I go here, don't I?
Yeah, you need to take those banners off first, though.
Do I? All right, let's do that. Hang on.
We'll put links to those in the comments as well. So.
There we go. So this is video by a wonderful, wonderful band called Chalk Horse Music, and Josie mentioned Liz from Chalk Horse Music, and let's play it, and we'll put some contact details on while it's going. It's called Telling of the Bees.
Turning you
lovely chalk horse
That
music.
was lovely.
Lizzie's voice is just unbelievably beautiful, isn't it?
It is. And it's it's lovely as a speaking voice as well on the radio.
Yeah. Tune in to Mostly Folk. Did you say it's tonight?
No, I think it was last week. It's the
Okay.
second Wednesday of every month.
Yeah, on the wonderful Hailsham FM. I was only joking about Neil. It's absolutely brilliant.
So next month, on the 14th of July, I believe, our guest is going to be Ada Goldstein of Ada Gold Photography. So we look forward to chatting to her about photography. And
That's us, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that's the end of the show. But just to remind you about our mini business expo on the 28th of July at Pickham's. You can get your tickets through supportwealden.co.uk. It's free. You don't have to pay to come, but you do have to book your place in advance. So we've got all your contact details and everything, and we can limit numbers and be all safe and lovely.
Yeah, and do check out the Support Wealden group on Facebook. This is on the Support Wealden page, of course. So if you just look up Support Wealden and look out for the Facebook group, and we'd be, you'd be very welcome to comment, add posts on there if you're a local business and in the Wealden, in or around the Wealden area. Yeah. And we've got all sorts of businesses on there.
And of course, check out the website, supportwealden.co.uk. Lots of local businesses listed on there.
Great.
And you can see previous episodes of Midweek Wealden on there too.
What's not to like?
Right, thank you for watching.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll see you next month, if not before.
Yeah, see what you've done there. You've not waited for me to get the video up.
Oh, sorry.
Let's do. All right. See ya. Bye.